O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hand.
The Essenes, and I'll talk about them in a minute, the Pharisees, the Essenes, the Sadducees, and the Zealots. The Essenes, their ideology, their way of thinking, based on isolation. So they decided, even in Jerusalem, they isolated themselves away from the temple and the other Jews. They came here and they built this settlement where you walk, and maybe you notice around you there a lot of systems, water, aqueducts, and they had little pottery place to produce jars, and they had their main dining room. So they used to sit down in the evening and dine together or eat together. After dinner, they used to listen to the priest or to the rabbi and write his interpretation on his tongue of the Bible. They used to scroll the papers and put it in jars. That happened about 30 or 29 AD. 40 years after, the Jews, of course, who revolted 66 AD, the Romans destroyed the temple, killed the Jews, and they came till here to look for more Jews to kill. But the Essenes, when they heard about it, they put all the jars with the scrolls, all the writings, what they did in 40 years. They put it in all the caves around, including that cave down there. There are 15 caves around here. The secret of the scrolls remained uncovered for 2,000 years. Only 1947, 1948, a Bedouin man from Bethlehem, behind the hills, he came here, lost his sheep down there, and he went down, he found those scrolls. He didn't understand the meaning. He sold them for a few shekels. From hand to hand, they became very valuable. Today, the Dead Sea Scrolls are treasury for the state of Israel and the Jews, and also those who are interested. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, we read the interpretation of the Essenes about the Bible. We read about the daily life of the Jews in the temple, including Jesus, of course. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are the most authentic source of the Bible that we have so far. And they are in a secret place in Jerusalem. The copies are in the Israeli Museum, and we will visit that later. They found in the scrolls all the books of the Bible, Old Testament speaking, except of one book, which was Book of Esther. Why? Why do you think? Why they didn't, the Essenes, study the Book of Esther? Okay. The Essenes' ideology based on the following: to worship and pray till they die and they go later to the hands of God. For them, their life was all worship, just prayers, no other things to do. Pray and pray, pray till you die, and then you go to the next life to be with God. And they consider themselves the people of God. Everyone else, nothing. They consider themselves, they live in the light. Everyone else live in the dark. So, sister said, Esther is a woman. There were no women in the Essene community, but they studied the book of Ruth. The reason is that you don't find the word God in the book of Esther. And those people here, they consider themselves people of God. Now, another question that we usually do here, and I want your answers: was John the Baptist an Essene member or not? If yes, why? And if not, why? Answers. What do you think? From your knowledge in the Bible, your knowledge about John, what do you think?
He has his own lifestyle.
He had his own lifestyle. Means yes or no. Was he an Essene or not?
No.
No, why? Because he had his own lifestyle.
lifestyle.
Sister saying no, and she said he had his own lifestyle. Other answers? Anybody saying what or yes? Because sister said no, so anybody saying yes?
It's possible. It's possible is from that group because he dedicated all his whole life for the Lord.
He dedicated his whole life to the Lord to prepare the way for Jesus. But your answer is yes or no.
Yes.
You say yes, he was an Essene member. But the Essenes, they isolated themselves. And that's the opposite of what John did. John mixed with the people. He baptized people there at Jordan River. And the Essenes, they were away from the people. So do you still say yes?
No. No.
So you say no. So you agree with sister now.
Yes.
Do you change your mind like this quickly all the time? Not ask your
Sometimes.
wife. Yes, his wife. What do you say about your husband? That's good for you because you can change his mind quickly. Especially if you want to take money for shopping. Father, what do you think about John the Baptist? Was he an Essene member or not? Do you agree with sister and my friend there?
Yes, but strictly speaking, his way of life can also be considered as an Essene because he was pious, he lived an ascetic life just like the Essenes.
Okay.
Then but he was not part of the community.
Good.
So he was not.
What Father is telling us here, friends, and thank you for that, John lived here in this area. So he came and visited. But he received a mission to do. He wasn't accepted by them to be a complete member. Maybe he visited. You listened what they said in the movie about him? When that student stood up and he said, was that the same John that, the one that we hear beheaded, they killed him? The same John that was with us here? John was here. He visited, but he didn't complete it 2 years. To be a complete member, you have to be 2 complete years and then they accept you as a member. John received a mission to do. He left. And what the rabbi said, no, it's not. And it's better to concentrate on study the scripture than talking about idols. He put John in the category of paganism as he wasn't an Essene member. Now, from the style of life, as our friend mentioned, that he lived and the mission that he received after to prepare the way for the Messiah, we understand completely that John was not an Essene member as complete. Maybe he visited, yes, as John never isolated himself. He lived ascetic life, but part of his life as the priest today, Catholic Church, Orthodox Church, they live in monasteries, in churches, but they accept people. They welcome people, they pray with people, but not the Essenes. The Essenes, they never allowed others to be with them. Neither ladies. There were no women in the Essene community. Was a Pharisee or Zealot or Essene or Sadducees. The others won't believe in him. They will say, oh, he is an Essene, we don't want him. But he came for all and stayed like that. Friends, this is cave number 4. You can come and take your picture for it. That's where they found the first scrolls. And then they looked in all caves. There are 15 caves around and they found the rest of them. Still, the Dead Sea Scrolls subject is an open subject, as many theologians, many scholars, they study that as it's really an interest, let's say, documents to study. We will visit the shrine of the book in the Israel Museum and you will see copies of those scrolls and other items that they found here. So it's good to be here to see it, and then you will see the museum later in Jerusalem. Friends, 2 minutes, take your picture for the cave, and then I will lead you back to the bus.